Yeah, there have been a lot of noise about InDex, and we're really happy to be here today and talk about InDex and the company. And we are going to present myself, Pernilla Sandwall. I joined InDex a little bit more than 2 years ago. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. I'm a pharmacist by training, and I have done clinical research and clinical development all my professional life at Merck & Company, or MSD as the subsidiaries are called mostly in Europe. And
I'm obviously Per-Olof Gunnessons, and I've been the CFO of InDex for the last 10 years.
The route to phase 3 and beyond. Maybe that's a little provocative or challenging, but we actually see the horizon. We are in phase 3, and I'm really happy to reveal not some data, but some information about the study that we're doing. So the company was founded 2000. We have 14 years of hard work. And in 14 days, we will know about the results in our phase 3 study. And as you just said, and we have less than 14 minutes to tell you all about this, so it will be a challenge. As introduction to the company, the research ID was here from Karolinska Institute, company founded in 2000. We have a platform of substances, DNA, immunomodulatory sequences, DIMS we call them. The most advanced drug is Capaproct, which is now in phase 3 and is the only drug that is in clinical development. The others are for preclinical use. Our largest shareholders are SEB Venture Capital, and they invested in InDex 2003. Then Industry Fonden invested 2011, and now, which has been then in the news, in January we had Neomed, a Norwegian investor. And in particular, we're very happy to get new investors, because that shows that others believe in what we do as well. It's very important for the current owners and for us as employees as well, that outside world is also interested in what we do.
These three have roughly 80% of the capital of the company.
In our organization, we have our CEO, Jesper Wiklund. Are you by any chance here? Because I did see you pop by.
He left.
And then it's me, Chief Operating Officer then. And in my area, I do have the clinical operations, the regulatory affairs, and the CMC. Most of that, and some more things. Our CMO is Thomas Knittel. He's a professor from Germany. And he has the research responsibility then, of course. And we have Pio.
And I could add that all of these four have a very solid pharma company background and experience.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to show any boring org charts, but we are 7 employees, and we have 12 key consultants that we consider like being in the team and being InDex people. Of course, we worked even more with other vendors. So we do acknowledge and understand that we need to have expertise in many different areas, but we having just one drug to develop, we don't need 100% of a CMC person actually, or a preclinical at this stage. But we ensure that we have the expertise and make this a very flexible organization. And we have done some really good things, we think, and those are to mention. The 2 first bullets might seem a little boring, actually, and not worth put up here, maybe. That we have well-documented preclinical and clinical data. But that is actually a key thing. And sometimes when you start your development, you might oversee what you actually need when you're going to file, in 10 years or 15 years or whenever you start. It is extremely important that you keep your lab books, that you keep your study reports, and that we can prove. And as someone said, that FDA once said, the American authority said that if it's not documented, it doesn't exist. It's a rumor. So we're proud of that. We also have a very good CMC process, and that's also well documented. And I've heard numbers that 40% of biotech companies actually fail on CMC because you start that too late. So when you have your data and then you realize you need 5 years of stability data, that's, you have to realize those things. This is a key things. And then of course patent protection. If you don't have your patent protected, then you might not be as interested on the market later on. And what my dearest to my heart is the Collect phase 3 study that we actually from start to end we have now 2.5 years, which is good. And you'll hear a little bit more in a second. And we have been then successful in the fundraising, as I just showed you. And then March 31st, we had a licensing deal with the Spanish pharmaceutical company Almirall. And Pia is going to tell you a little bit more about that, because that is really, really very, very good news. So what is Capaproc then? I'm not going to go into details, but it's a TLR9 agonist. So we actually activate the positive cytokine profiles that we have. So for instance, IL-10 are increased. And by that you induce your body to actually respond better to current treatment. And those cells and those receptors are increased when you have an inflammatory disease. And now we are focusing on the UC, as I said, ulcerative colitis. So UC as a disease is actually, I shouldn't say common, and I don't have the prevalence numbers in top of my head, but some of those patients actually turn into chronic patients and treatment refractory patients. And those are the ones that we target in our study now. The next treatment options would be a colectomy, so when you have a patch on your stomach instead. And less than 10,000 patients in Europe, 7,000 maybe. I've heard there is an unmet medical need has been mentioned, and we mentioned this as well, because those patients, they do not have treatment options today. The administration is rectally, and we are dosing a single dose repeated once with 4 weeks apart. And this is the study, Collect, we call it. Colectomy, you collect data, so it's the patients should have tried different treatments available, but this varies over countries, so there's a little bit heterogenic group here. Disease activity is this is a score used, and this means that you are severely ill if you have more than 9, and if your endoscopy score shows that you actually have a very active disease and in a very severe stage. The study is run in 40 sites or clinics or in Europe in 7 countries. And we randomized 131 patients. The study was planned for 120, but we had some patients in screening, which we allowed to be randomized. And they are all on steroids in the inclusion. And as I said, we have 2 single doses repeated at week 0 and 4. And as the gastroenterologist do the endoscopy, is a spray catheter where we dose locally then in the colon. And the study we have is we look at the primary endpoint at week 12 for remission, and then we continue to follow the patients for another 9 months, so in total 12 months of safety data and efficacy with a lot of secondary endpoints. And we are proud of this. Patient recruitment is often a bottleneck, and we had the first patient in on the December 23rd, 2011, and we had a last patient out last month. The headline data will come now in May, and the final study report will be end of July. This recruitment curve, sometimes when you do your study, it's often that it's a little slow in the beginning, you need to start sites and approvals are staggered and so forth. But here you have a tendency to see that you actually, oh, we're so done, and the investigators, yeah, they're used to the study a little bit now, and someone else can do the hurdle with the last patients and so. But to see that we actually had to stop here and had a sort of a hockey stick recruitment is something to be proud of. I'm at least. This is what we think will happen. We have 2 scenarios in our planning now. The Collect study will be done now, and if everything is good, we're actually going to file. We have scientific advice by EMA saying that if you have good results, 1 study is enough. So then we file early next year. However, if that will not, we need another study supportive, another to confirm Collect. We plan for Collect 2 for Europe, but also then to include US patients. And we know that FDA will require 2 studies, so for sure we need to plan for a Collect 3, then hopefully only in US. And then so that we can file in 2017 in US as well. So, P.O., Almiral.
Before I comment upon the company as such, and with reference to some of you that presented earlier, I would say that we have invested a lot of effort, especially our CEO, invested a lot of efforts to create contacts with pharma company and keep contacts with relevant pharma companies. And I think that it's been going on for, let's say, the last 1 year, last 2 years almost. And I think that paid profit when we succeeded to go into a deal with this Spanish company. So that's a message that I want to forward to you, that it's very important to be out there and to create contacts and also keep them and give them update all the way. Almiral is a we think, very suitable partner in the sense that they have 2 main areas of products, that is asthma and that is gastrointestinal. And obviously we know then that our product, Capaproc, will get attention. It will not be a product put on the shelf, they will invest. They have, as you can see, 3,000 employees, market cap of 2 billion euros. And one very important thing is that they showed a good regulatory track record, because they rather recently registered, or a year ago or so, registered a new compound as well, and they did that with a good performance. So we out-licensed exclusive rights in Europe. We get in return upfront and milestone payments that could be of the magnitude of 100 million euros. The milestones are of one at signing and the others at milestones at performance, registration application, etc., etc. There is also one for sharing further development, as Pernilla presented. And the royalty numbers are very high. And this means that with good results on the clinical study and with the agreement with Almiral, we do plan for going for Nasdaq OMX during this year. And of course we want then to raise money for completing the clinical program, basically the 2 studies that Pernilla showed us.
So in conclusion then, for InDex, we actually have a platform of substances. And they have a unique mechanism of action, so if this will work, we'll be first in class. And we are addressing with the treatment refractory UC patients, it is an unmet medical need for sure. And we have the phase 3 data soon, and we actually have database lock. To those of you who know what it is, happens tonight, we will close the database. And now we then have this license agreement. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.